Hi everyone, it's Pastor Edie, and it's my pleasure to come to you today to say hello and to offer you a word of encouragement and just to give you a little takeaway from the message on Sunday. You know, if you haven't had a chance to listen to that, please go back and listen to the message Pastor David shared this past Sunday, focusing on Jesus and his time in the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus knew that this was his pathway. It was his journey. This was what God had called him to do. And our verse of the week comes from John chapter 12 and verses 27 and 28. I just want to go ahead and read that to you. So Jesus said, "Now my heart is troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? No, it was for this very reason I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name." See, Jesus desired always and always was obedient unto the Father, because obedience reflects the expression of love. Jesus told his disciples, if you love me, you will obey me. And Jesus was always obedient to the commands of his Father. So I just want to go over, our teaching text was from Matthew 26. Just a couple things real quick. So in verse 38, Jesus said to Peter and James and John, he said, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. With me. That I think is so powerful, because sometimes when we get so overwhelmed with sorrow, we can tend to withdraw. But Jesus presses in and he calls for reinforcement and support, and he calls to Peter, James, and John, and he says, no, stay here, keep watch with me. So always press into other people in those moments. He also told them, pray that you will not fall into temptation. So while you're together, we're supposed to be looking to the Lord, including him into this moment of sorrow and difficulty and trouble, right? So get together and pray together. And then Jesus said, my Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, but not my will, your will. Or some versions say, nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. This cup of wrath, the wrath of God, the just punishment that was due for sin, your sin, my sin, this was the cup that Jesus willingly took for you and for me. And it occurred to me as I was reading the accounts of the week, that just hours before Jesus spoke these words in the garden, prayed these words to the Father, there was another cup. There was a cup not of God's wrath. There was a cup that Jesus offered to his disciples. And not only to his disciples, but to you and me as well, because he said, do this in remembrance of me. And we still do this in remembrance of him every time we partake of communion, or some people call it the Lord's Supper. It's the cup of redemption that we take and we drink. The cup of redemption, Jesus said, this is for the forgiveness of sins. So while Jesus took the cup of God's wrath for the punishment of sin, he gave us the cup of redemption for the forgiveness of sins. What a loving God. What an incredible exchange. Amazing grace, amazing love. I hope that in the days leading up to our celebration on Resurrection Sunday, that you will read the accounts of what we call the Holy Week in Scripture. That you will read the accounts of Jesus washing the feet and Jesus sharing that first communion with his disciples. And you will read about the prayer in the garden and the arrest, the unjust, unlawful trial, and the crucifixion. And I hope that if you can, you'll join us on Friday as we gather together to watch the movie, The Passion of the Christ. As I said on Sunday, it's kind of disturbing, but it's so important. It's important for us to see what Jesus has done for us. And then we're going to gather together on Sunday, because isn't it great to know, my brothers and sisters, that as awful as Friday is, Sunday's coming. The grave is empty. Jesus is alive. He is risen. He is risen indeed. And we have every hope in Jesus Christ. So I hope you have a blessed week. I hope to see you Sunday. And I hope that above all, that we are challenged like Jesus to live our lives in obedience to God because of our love for him. God bless you.